Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is Olta. I will be your host for today. I have here with me Katia. As you know, we are talking about digital product management, and Katia is our guest speaker for today. She is the expert in the field and also part of our faculty. So basically, she is also teaching in our digital product management online program. I would like first to welcome everyone, and if you could drop a pin where you're connected from. Before starting with the presentation, Katia, I will just say a few words about Talent Garden and why we are doing this event. So basically, Talent Garden started as a small co-working space with the aim to gather together people that are interested in our basically in digital and tech, but also in our co-working space. But now we are much more than that. Actually, we are a community. So at the moment, we have 18 campuses around Europe, and we are hosting freelancers, startups, and different companies. In 2015, we also added this educational part that came as a natural step that we call the Innovation School. We have courses in marketing, design, data, business, coding, etc., in different kind of formats, full-time, part-time, masterclasses, and also online, offline, and blended. So at the moment, I work for the school as an orientation and admission specialist, which means I am taking care of the admission part. So basically, people that are interested in our training courses, they come to me and I see if they are fit in our courses and that our courses are fit for them. Of course, it's a two-way relationship. And also, that's why we have in the title the orientation specialist as well, because I try to understand their needs and see what the best training for them is. At the moment, I'm also taking care of the digital product management online program. So very often I have candidates interested in our program, but they have questions sometimes about the program itself. So schedule, admission, format, pricing, etc. But sometimes they have more broader questions, such as what is digital product management? Is the course right fit for my actual skills? And how can I start a career in this field? So I believe that these kind of questions can be better answers from someone that is in the field. No matter how much I read to try to stay updated to help my students and candidates, I think that having a professional talking about it based on experience is much more enriching. So I don't want to spoil your presentation, Katia. Usually I have some frequently asked questions. So I'm not going to ask them. So I will wait for the end when we have the Q&A session. And also for the viewers, if you have questions, do not hesitate to drop them in the comments. So we will take a look afterwards of all the questions that you have. And whenever you're ready, Katia, to introduce yourself, thank you again for joining me. It's very nice to have you here. And now the scene is all yours. Whenever you're ready, I will show the presentation.
I'm ready. Thank you, Olta.
There you go.
Hello, guys. Nice to meet you. My name is Katia, and today I would like to share some experience and advices about career in product management, in particular for those who want to start this new path. The agenda is this one. So I'm going to talk about my advices and tips for about 20 minutes. And then, as was mentioning Olta, we are going to have a Q&A session. So feel free to ask anything you want to ask, you're curious to know. So first of all, let me introduce myself. I have a business administration degree, and here I'm based in Berlin, in Germany. I work for different industries, marketplace, travel, fintech, for corporate, startups, and experience in B2B and B2C. My hobbies actually is traveling. I love traveling a lot and practice yoga. And my current challenge is learning Mandarin. It's a very big challenge, but I really like it. And in terms of career, actually, I got my first job in product management, transitioning from a project manager role. Before sharing my advices and tips, I would like quickly to share the definition of a product management, my definition. Basically, you can find a lot of different definitions, but I think that in everyone you can see two keywords every time. They should be there. The two keywords are value and customers. So, product management is a cross functional role that basically, as main goal, has to create value for the customers. How? By defining and building great products and launching in the market. So, as a product manager, you need to solve problems and create value for the customers, and at the same times you need to be the voice of the customer internally in the company when you interact with your stakeholders. Then my advices. So before you get a new job as a PM, first of all, I think that it's much easier if you join a company in a function that is close to the product team. So you don't have experience at all in product management, but you have some experience in marketing, or you study marketing university, or something in business or in analytics. Like me, for example, I have a business administration degree. Then you start to join the company in a role that actually is interacting a lot with the product team. And then when you have the possibility, you move to the product team. In the meantime, I would suggest you, of course, to learn and observe a lot your colleagues that are working product to understand how it works. What does it mean actually concretely? And then when you're ready and when there is a possibility, of course, you can change the role. So this is my first advice. Then other advices that I have for you to get a job in product management. So list your strengths and weaknesses. I think that is very good exercise, because when you find a role, a position that you're interested in, then I think that this position should have at least one trait that you list in your range, because this is help a lot. First of all, to get the job, I would say. A second, it could be also like a comfort zone for you to start in a new company, new environment. Then the third, it's writing down your motivation, incentives, and then identify the last one, your priorities, by setting up some drivers. I call drivers. These are for example, my 6 driver that I use every time that I'm considering new opportunities. For instance, in my case, I have company size, B2B versus B2C, the role itself, the brand of the company, the compensation, and location. These drivers in the last 10 years, they were pretty the same, so I didn't change them. But the weight or the content itself was different. For instance, location, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I was pretty open to be relocated in any country, in any continent. And now, yes, of course, it's really flexible, but less. So I have in mind maybe a couple of location, or just working remotely is another option, right? So set your drivers that can be similar, different from mine, and then think about your priorities. This is a good exercise that helps you to identify the right job for you, the next step. Then, interview process insights. As I'm seasoned product manager, I have, of course, a lot of experience in being interviewed. I interview as well candidates to become product managers. So, first of all, understand the content of your interviews, which means that before the interview, get familiar with the product, with the company, with the landscape. And with the landscape, I mean, for example, a competition, alternative products that you can find in the market, or read some particular comments about the company itself from the customers. So collect and consolidate this information. The second tip that I have for you is actually prepare some answers based on hypothetical questions that you can have. So because my experience that there are some questions that are coming up again and again over different interviews. Example, Why you are open for new opportunities, why you're looking for a new job. This is a common question that you can get, so be prepared on that. Or summarize briefly your working experience. Okay, if you have, let's say, if it's the first job at all, then it's pretty straightforward. But if you have maybe 1 or 2 pages of experience like me, then you have to summarize in a proper way, and by highlighting the key topics, or highlighting the aspects that you want to share with the interview. Okay, so practicing, and be prepared about that. Second, product cases. Yes. So when you are being interviewed for a product manager roles, usually they're asking you to solve some product case, new one in real time, or maybe they are give you some kind of exercise that you need to solve it at home, or maybe they're asking you, if you already have some kind of experiences, what was your best product case that you solved in the past. In any case, for the new ones, actually, for the new people that they don't have any experience, when they ask you to solve a product case, it's more like the way that you're thinking more important than the content itself. So don't be worried about that. And in this case, I found very useful to use a kind of structure when you have to solve product cases. The structure is pretty simple: problem, solution. So you have some problems, or you already they have identified one problem that you need to solve it, and then you have to find the solution. Okay, based on the segments on the market, or based on other constraints or insights that you have that they're going to provide you. So structure always starting from the problem and then defining the solution at the end. Problem, solution. Another advice that I have is that during these interviews, and especially in the product case specifically, is to use prioritization frameworks that are very, very useful. There are millions of prioritization frameworks. If you join our course, and you will know more about that. For instance, prioritization framework based on value and impact that you could have, or can be the revenue impact. It can be we can have a lot of frameworks, but pick some framework, the simplest one that you are more confident with, and then use it during this kind of when you're solving that product case. And the last, there are the KPIs, the metrics. This is interesting. So when you have to solve a case, usually you need also to think about how you want to measure the success of your case, and then you have to set some metrics. So this is another important piece of the journey that you have considered that, and they have to keep that in mind when you have an interview process. Then, after the interview, you got the first job as a product manager. And here, what I'm suggesting is to understand your product, because you're new. So you need to understand how it works, the product, which are the target segment, what is the business model, use cases. So collect as much information that you can by interacting with people, with colleagues. Usually you have also a lot of documents. Then learn about the roadmap. Sure that when you join a company, there is already a roadmap there. So trying to understand which functionality they are in progress, they are going to be developed, the vision itself, it's very important. Then understand the market, in particular the competition. So there are key competitor, direct competitors and direct competitors of your product. Set expectation with the stakeholders, because it's very important. This role is a cross-functional role, as I mentioned at the beginning, so you have to interact with your stakeholders pretty often. So set the expectation. Meet regularly your team, and then talk, of course, with your users, the customers. Remember what I was mentioning at the beginning, the 2 keywords, value and customers. So talk to them directly or through the customer service or sales team usually. Okay. Then, when I think about the right mindset that the product manager should have, basically, I have in mind these four pillars. So, first of all, a product manager should be curiosity, which means that going out from their comfort zone and trying to learn new things that maybe are not familiar with. But it is a part of the innovative thinking that they can have, creating something completely new. Be experimental. So learning and try and learning. This is very important because you need of course, you learn, you can fail, that it's completely fine. But the failure actually is something that you learn that you can reuse in a better way for the next experiment. Be empathic means basically connect with the other people. You are the voice of the customers. You have to interact with your customers, so you need to create connection with people and keep them. And then collaborative, as already mentioned, is a cross-functional role. Then you actually you need to interact with a lot of people and collaborate with a lot of people that have different knowledge, different maybe mindset. So please be open and be collaborative. Last tips that I have for you today. So, build your professional network. We are lucky now because we have LinkedIn and other network. I use a lot LinkedIn, and but what I'm saying that maybe 20 years ago when I started my career was a bit more difficult, but now you guys, you can do it. So build your professional network, follow the key people, increase your network, and trying to be open that. Increase exposure as well. So write articles, for example. Could help to increase your exposure. Attend events. I'm saying, for instance, we have these events today, or we have other events, the product meetups that you can find different countries, different cities. They are very interesting as well. And there are other million of events that you can join where you can meet other people. Improve your resume. And here's another big chapter, but let's say briefly, it should be very clear. And one thing that I learned is that you should insert clearly your achievements, and possibly if you have some metrics related to that. So don't forget that. This is very impactful when a headhunter is reading your resume. And the last is to basically be updated, keep up with the product management. So attend courses, read books, read articles, join community. So keep updated because it's a very interesting field. So where there are new things, new stuff every time. So keep it updated. Okay. Well, I think that Olta, it's now time of the Q&A session.
If you have questions, of course, you can write them down in the comments. If not, I have a few actually. And then you did answer a few of them, so I have to check what I checked out of the list of the questions actually. So my question is, what does a day in your job looks like? So a typical day, basically. What do you do first? What is the biggest challenge? And stuff like this.
Okay, so let's say what I'm doing actually is writing on my notes here, close to me, the top 3 things that I want to achieve during the day. Basically, it's, as I mentioned, is a cross-functional role. So you're receiving different emails from different people, requests and stuff. So, and in order to be focused on that, I think that writing down these 2-3 things that you want to achieve by the day, it helps me to be focused on that. And then afterward, what I'm doing is basically read emails, and I'm trying to mark the ones that are urgent versus the one that can maybe, they are less urgent, even if I can wait for that. And then, of course, working remotely in the last years that we know, interacting with my team daily basis. with the quick teams, like meetings that they had one-to-one stuff during the day. And but basically, let's say the day that it's based on emails and meetings, interacting with them. Usually what we are doing is that pretty meetings, like not very long. The average is 30 minutes, 25 minutes. So you have the 5 minutes between one meeting and another one that you can switch to the next one. So you have some time to break. And but interaction with people, talking. Yeah.
Okay, we actually have a few questions, so I will leave my questions for the end. So I will put them in the screen, starting from the first.
Sure.
Edrica, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right though. What courses, certification, and books would you recommend for a newbie or new to this career?
Okay. Well, one course, Ota, maybe is the
Right, this is like a sales moment for me. I think actually we have the digital product management online course. It's a part-time course delivered in English. The classroom usually is quite international. Then you can take a look at our website. You can download the brochure to see the details of the course, but definitely it could be a really good start. Usually the people that are welcome in the course are project managers, but actually this would also be the next question for you, Katia. So what profiles could be a good match? Eventually a newbie, for example, like Edrica. I wonder what is also your background, your past background. So people working for marketing, is that a natural switch or something like this?
Yeah, I think that something that I don't mention, but product manager they have different flavors.
Mhm.
So the product managers that are coming from business, like me, for example, or from marketing, from analytics, from technical, from design. So that's absolutely fine. It's more a question of mindset, and of course open to learn than others. So yes, absolutely open to everyone that wants to learn.
All right. Then I would move to the next question. Mauro, hi, I'm a project manager since about 10 years. Now I'm thinking about to move to product, but I've no skills. I don't have enough skills basically. So I have to study and learn, but without specific experience. Then it continues on the next one. If I relocate myself in a company that needs a product manager, do I have to start from a junior role or how can I protect my seniority?
Hey, Mauro. Okay, this is a good question. So, let's say, I would say if in your company currently there is also product management, so there is a function of product management, I would start internally in your company to do that. Hmm? It's much straightforward. If you don't have a product management unit in the company itself, so let's say it's a little bit tricky to get the same seniority in product while you without any experience on that, to be honest. So I will not maybe say junior, but likely would happen that senior. So what I'm doing, Mauro, is that what I was suggesting. So join a company as a product manager senior, where actually they have, of course, a product management unit, and then move horizontally. Okay, then you first of all you can learn more about what they're doing, work close with them, and then secondly you can then move, you can join the product management team, so you don't lose the seniority of that.
Would it be possible in this case to actually find side projects as a freelance to work as a product manager while
Mm,
also working as a
well, the
product?
freelance, the consulting is more difficult than working, because in this case you need to manage the client now as a consultant, so you have to be pretty strong and confident about that. So I would say, in my experience, everything is possible in life. We know
Yeah.
that, but I would say unlikely. I would suggest more like to not lose seniority, to join a company where there are both project management and product management. A lot of company they have that, and then move to. But of course, you need also to learn more about that. So, for instance, learning from books. courses, and that can help a lot. And also you can create your network.
All right. So actually, what module are you teaching in the digital product management at the moment?
The first two, so product management in foundation, and then customer discovery. So talking about problem and solution.
Okay. Then we will move to the other question from Diana. Hello, does product management involve product design, meaning conceptual work?
Yes, absolutely. Is involved in that. Is part of that. Yeah. As you
Okay.
can see in my presentation, there were three cycles. No, there were business, UX, design, and technical. And product was in the cross these three because it's actually it's a function that taking a little bit more of that. So yes, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So moving to the next question, it would be for Maximus. How is it moving from technical roles to product management? Is there any mandatory leadership behaviors?
Okay, easy to move. Well, I think that the chances are the same than from a designer, for instance, for the business. It depends on the flavor of the product management that you have in that company. So, for instance, there are companies where they are looking for technical product managers. So it would be much easier for you versus another person that doesn't have any technical background, I would say. So yes, I think that it's easy where they're looking for technical product manager. It's here what I was mentioning, Maximus, is that if it's possible, I would join the company in a technical role and then move into the product. It's much easier and you can keep your seniority, everything, instead of to joining. But yeah, it's easy. Leadership behavior. I'm sorry. The second one is any mandatory leadership behavior. I don't think so. Leadership can come later on. So absolutely not. It's not any mandatory. It's not any mandatory for that. No.
Okay. Then we talked about Edrica, that she asked about
Yeah.
newbie and what skills and how to learn. So she actually, I'm not. I will say they instead of he or she. Actually, it's more politically correct, I think. So they are software developers. So what it is fine as a
Yeah,
back.
yeah, absolutely. You guys, you can have any kind of, let's say, background that but as I mentioned, mindset is very important, and of course, the great to learn that you want to learn, become a product manager, and that absolutely it's fine. It's more the thinking process that makes the difference. So.
Then another question: how do you ensure product documentation? Are there helpful frameworks or tools?
Yes, product documentation. No, not too much documentation because then we are we are not getting B2B agile, I would say. So let's find a middle solution, which means yes, documentation is important, especially when you have to share with other colleagues, stakeholders, and people. Not too much, not too many, and yes, frameworks and tools, they are absolutely important. And this is what you're going to learn by reading books or attending our course, frameworks and tools that you can apply.
Thank you. We can move to the next one, Federica. Hi,
Mhm.
Katia. I'm currently working in a digital company in trade marketing, but I have a solid background in digital marketing. How easy is it to move from marketing role to product management?
Same chance that you have comparing the other colleagues on technical and stuff, so the same one. So of course, as I mentioned, if you're joining a new company and you're looking as a product manager, it can be like more challenge because you don't have experience in product management. But if you're doing horizontally, then it's much easier. So internal the company. So join a company that have a product functions there, and then you can move there afterward. Absolutely.
Actually, she added right next to the first comment. In my company, there is a product management department. So I think it's a good thing.
Absolutely. So interact with them pretty oftenly. Try to understand what they're doing. Work with them. Drink a coffee if you can. You can meet them, the company, lunch stuff. Trying to understand what they're doing, and then when there is a possibility, move that. Of course, some books, courses. It's also very useful for you because then you start with you have you have some tools and frameworks and practices that you can apply for that.
Okay, thank you. And the next one, how to capture product development in time, like an historical backlog showing how the product performed in time. Any recommendations?
Maximums, how to capture. Sorry, can you to capture product development in time? Okay, so you have a backlog. I didn't. Sorry, I didn't understand the question. Maybe you can formulate that. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we'll wait maybe for another
Yes.
paraphrasing of the question.
Thank you.
I'm just assuming maybe how to compare the performance of the product in time, like the history of the performance of the product and how to compare it. I'm assuming with the question, but let's wait for Max to actually clear this for us. In the meanwhile, we will move to the next one.
Yeah.
What was the hardest skill you have to learn in product management?
Hardest skill? But actually, I don't think that. Well, you have. I think that managing. So you have to be confident with numbers. This is for sure. Then something else. Okay, you don't need to be technical, but you need to, or you don't to be a designer, or you want to be, but you have to use their languages. So practicing with that as well. So technical design it could be very useful. So yes, my number first.
All right. And Antoine, thanks a lot, Katia, for sharing your experience. My question is, do you have any people or mentors in top of mind who inspired you to pursue the career and why?
Oof, I have a lot. How we can do? We can maybe share a list of some of them in the chat later on, or maybe you can reach me out on LinkedIn how it works because I have a few of them. Some also someone was asking some books as well, so I can provide.
Actually, in this case, I usually send out a recap of the event to all the participants. So I can just put it down, keep it in mind to share some links and additional information from your side.
Yes,
So
I have.
Antoine, names will come later, I think.
And you guys, you are so you can join them. There are websites, community, LinkedIn, and stuff where you can follow them. That are great. They wrote books, articles, and stuff. So I'm going to share the list. Absolutely.
All right, then we have another one, Mike. What do you mean with mindset? Can you provide some examples?
Okay. Mindset. So. Um, For example, let's think about curiosity. Okay, so we were talking about curiosity, collaboration, be empathic. This is where the mindset that I think that product managers should have. So basically means that be open to try new things or new industry, new sectors, new stuff. For instance, in my case, I was working for corporate, maybe in the B2B, and then I completely changed and joining startups. It's a completely different environment in the B2C. So absolutely, means that I was curious to learn more and different, and to be open to learn. And this is a thing that is very important for a product manager.
Okay, then we can move to the next one.
Not.
Marco asks, how can I manage interviews when applying as a product manager when many companies expect me to become a coder due to my academic background? I've graduated in computer engineering.
Okay. Well, but you're applying for a product manager role, so not a coder, right? Let's say if it's technical product manager role, maybe you need to do some coding, something like to be able to do it. But actually, I'm sorry, I lost the. Okay, it's here. I think that. I think that the same what I was saying before. So basically, join the company where they have products as a technical as developer, and then move into the product organization later on. Otherwise, you can try by applying for technical product management. I would suggest you, if you don't have any experience, to attend some courses on that. At least you have the foundation, the basics, and then apply for that.
Actually, maybe I misunderstood this question because it says they expect me to become a coder due to my background. So, is this because of the shortage that we have for coders? So they are hopefully hoping that you have coding skills rather than product management?
Depends on if you're covering if you're actually it's a technical product role. Maybe you need to sometimes not coding, but let's say working with the code in such as a way. So, for instance, when you need to find some data and stuff, extract some data or other stuff, easily you can find out on your own instead of to wait the analytics team that are going to provide that. Blah blah blah. So let's say I understand, Marco. So can happen that, but let's say. If it's technical product manager, yes, some coding around can happen, but still stick to the product management.
Yeah, he actually added down because I think there's a limit in characters. Sure, I've
Okay.
had this issue during interviews, and I've tried to explain how my personal skills fit more in the product management role than coding. So I guess the companies are actually hoping he would rather switch to coding for some reason.
Yeah,
But
well, this marketing that the expectations that the company has are different from yours, and yeah, then unfortunately. But Marco, and what I'm saying that maybe if you don't have any experience in product, you can join them by as a developer and then move to product afterward. You can really discuss that during the interview. Say, I'm pretty open. I want to learn. Happy to work. Starting with that, but then my expectation is in 1 year, 2 years, when there is a possibility to move. Can be also an opportunity for you.
yeah, definitely. And Fabio, could you suggest some product management books or papers, something to have an overview about the role? So I guess we will include it in the follow-up as well. So Fabio, you will receive an email. Please, guys, check your promotions or spam because it happens sometimes. Okay, then Ruben, I lost the first part of the video for work reasons. Will I find registration? Actually, you can use the same link to watch the registration of this broadcast. Once we're done, it will be there as a YouTube video. And then Matteo, hello. What are the main daily activities of a product manager? And usually, actually, my question would also be, what is the difference between a digital product manager and a product manager? Is there any big differences in the way that you work?
Well, actually, I'm digital product manager, so I'm working on the software side and I'm more on the hardware. But the difference that it's there is not too much difference on the daily work on the frameworks that you're going to apply. I would say it's the same. It's just the domain that you're working on that is can be different, but at the end you're applying the same stuff. What are the main daily activities of PM? As I mentioned, so it depends, of course, but usually you have the stand up with your team, the cross-functional team in the morning before reading any email, everything. And then after there's the stand up where you're talking about blockers, challenge, and priorities, blah blah blah. 10 minutes of stand up, 15 minutes, no more. Then you're starting to work on the by reading emails or have some meetings. At the end, what you have to do is that you have to depends, of course, the seniority. You have to define the features, the functionality, so that you have to shape your roadmap, and then define exactly how they should look like in collaboration with your team, of course, not alone. Should look like the features itself and validate them with the customers. So before launching, then you can discover, and it's something that you're going to learn if you're joining the course with me, is discovering to what you should focus on at first in terms of problem, feature, solution, and why. Okay, so trying to condensate this, but yeah, Matteo, it's a bit longer the answer. I'm sorry for the
Yeah, we will move to the next one.
monologue.
How much coding do you know from Alessio? I imagine it's not part of what you usually do, but would you consider it as a useful skill for a product manager, and up to what point, basically?
It depends on the Malaysia on the role itself. So if it's there are different flavors. So you have technical product managers that actually don't need to coding at all, but they need really to understand the code. So they have to have a kind of pretty strong background, technical background. And another case, for my cases, so I'm in the last 20 years I was interacting a lot with developers, and so I learned their language. So I have, let's say, high level background, technical background. So every product should have, because you are working daily basis with the developers, you have to understand when they're talking about what they're saying, right? And this is fine, but I'm not coding. I'm not coding, absolutely. So it depends on the role. We have different flavors. So you can see product managers everywhere, but then if you read exactly the description of the role, can be different. So keep an eye on that.
Then Fabio has a question that actually I also have here in my notes. What is the main difference between project and product manager? And I have these questions quite often when I have interviews with candidates, and I think it's still a little bit blurry for some people, including myself. So
Okay, so
please.
I love this because also I was discussing with a hunter recently the differences about project and product manager, because they were looking for a product manager fulfilling a project manager role, and I was a little bit surprised. Anyway, so project manager, basically straightforward, is the managing output. Product manager is managing outcome. Concretely, what doesn't mean, basically. So the project manager, it's the ones that is coordinating resources. Basically, I'm sure that you already saw a Gantt chart. No, you have a different kind of work stream, the timeline, the people, the teams and stuff. Actually, who is doing what? Okay, and the period that can be 3 months, 5 months, then more. It's getting a bit challenged. And then the project manager, it's the one that is coordinating these resources and trying to have the full picture about the end-to-end of the deliverable output. The product manager is the one that actually is working on solving problems, so achieving an outcome. So he's not coordinating resources. This day I do that, tomorrow you do that, and stuff like that. Absolutely is the role of the project manager. Product manager is the ones that actually translating the insights through the discovery into a roadmap. While the project manager has a project plan or Gantt, the product manager is owning the roadmap. That actually the roadmap is basically is a collection, an overview of a strategic view of features based on a specific timeline.
Thank you very much for clearing that out. And Ruben is saying, maybe you have already talked about it. Which master do you recommend to do to become a digital product manager? And I have a degree in economics and a master in business management. I would say our digital product management online program, of course. Now I
Yeah.
can. Normally for this, you will also receive information in a follow-up email where we include these informations in case you need the training, and you can take a look at the details about the course and if this is something that interests you. So we will keep you updated on this after the event eventually. So another question. As a product manager, who are the people you mostly collaborate with? For example, as in orientation and admission, I work very closely with the learning manager, although I work a lot with the campus team when we host physical events, and of course the marketing, but mostly learning manager. Is there anything actually like this for you as well, that you mostly collaborate with one group, or at least in different periods of
For the digital product manager, so actually when for the product manager that they are building digital solutions. We are working in these cross-functional teams, which are basically this cross-functional team. You have these. You heard about squad, pod, now in different contexts like Spotify, other company they call different ways. So you're working very closely with developers, with designers that are part of your team, and with developer designers and analytics as well. So the people basically that help you to they are giving sharing data about that. These are the ones that you're interacting. And if you have also agile coach in the company, you have also they're interacting with agile coach, but it's not always there. And then this is the people that are interacting basically a daily basis. But I would say but because let's remind the customers as well. So I maybe not daily basis, but weekly basis, absolutely interact with your customers as well. So I would say your team plus the customers.
Okay, so we don't have any more comments from the viewers. I actually have one. You studied, as you said, business, right? And my question would be, when you first started in this field of study, where did you see yourself back then? And when did you decide that actually maybe you can take another path? So I have a lot of candidates that come from different fields for the digital product management course or for UX design, and they have a specific plan in mind for their careers at a certain age. And then some of them actually stick to it for some time, and some of them are actually very quick to see a really good opportunity to switch to something else that they didn't know it existed. How did it feel for you? So how natural was it, and how much set into your first plan were you?
Okay, you're meaning also after the degree, right?
After the degree, yes.
So basically, 20 years ago, almost, so in Italy, because I'm Italian, so I started there, and there were not any kind of knowledge about product management at all. So product manager was not existing at all. And I was lucky because I joined this company, as I mentioned, as a project manager. And this company was from basically the base. It was in the north of Europe, where they were more advanced in this field. So they were working in product management mode, and then and there I start to learn and see what they were doing. My colleagues in product management by observing them. So it was like discovery. I was open. I was curious, as I mentioned. So and then I was also open to experiment and try. So I had the opportunity to join them to see how was it, what was it, because as I mentioned, I never studied that. And then I start to I like a lot, and I shape my way at the end. Because at the end you have to shape your way to work in product management. No, there are a lot of guidelines, framework, tools, but the end on the field that actually you learn and practice then, and then you can find your way. So slowly I start to learn, but of course I had also very good managers that they were like they were mentors as well in this path. That helps a lot.
Thank you. And we have two more questions from the viewers. The first one, do you interact with the customers?
Yes. So yes, it depends on the situation, on the company stage, and a lot of things. So there are different variables, but absolutely you interact with the customers, and there are different ways. So for instance, and also there are differences between the B2B and B2C. I don't want to create more complexity because we have a few minutes, but let's say you can invite them, and then meet them regularly. For example, when you have a usability test, you want to show something, understand what they're thinking about. So face to face, could be like, or maybe you can having focus groups if you have to do a qualitative discovery and then survey, and then you can invite groups of them, or you can also uh, weekly basis interact with the customer service, that they are, of course, they're interacting a lot with the customer itself, and then go there. Sometimes I was telling to different companies, I was telling to my guys to go there and then listen or just on to the answering from the colleagues and see what they're asking the customers. So there are different ways, face to face or through department colleagues, but face to face also is very important. So at least you should do it sometimes.
All right. And then the final one, how do you validate product ideas?
Ta-da! Okay, this is a part of my module. So, how do you validate product ideas? Well, there are different ways to validate product ideas. There are different frameworks and tools that you can use it. The common rule that you can find in it's doing quickly, and let's say in the cheap way. So don't spend too much time to build the stuff, but just try to validate it, in a way that actually it's pretty easy and fast, because then you can learn if it's a good idea or not. Okay.
All right, then, guys, if you have more questions, of course, this is my email address, oltasinana@talentgarden.com. If you have questions about our program or Talent Garden in general, if you'd like to be connected maybe to Katia, or you can also take a look at our website, talentgarden.org. You can also say talentgarden.com. It will redirect you at the right location. You can take a look at the innovation school if you are interested in training programs, or maybe in a co-working space to work from as a freelancer or startuppers, whatever you are doing at the moment. I will send you a follow-up email for this event, including the registration itself and some recommendation for books and mentors, as we talked about with some of the viewers that had questions. I'm just putting down old school in notes in my post-its here. I mean, I'm all about digitalization, but sometimes it's very handy. Old habits die slowly. And if you have questions, as I said, you can reach out to me. Katia, thank you very much for joining us today. And hopefully I will have you again as a guest speaker. Hopefully we also answered as many questions or doubts you guys had. So thank you very much. And hopefully we will stay in touch with different kind of events that we do. And for now, have a really nice evening, everyone. And goodbye from my side.
Thank you very much. Goodbye. Thank you, Olta. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.